All right, so you're thinking about jumping into the world of e-commerce. You want to open your own online store, and you're hearing a lot of buzz about WooCommerce.
It's definitely a platform that's gaining traction. More and more people are choosing it to build their online businesses.
But is it the right fit for you? That's what we're going to unpack in this deep dive.
We'll break down the basics, explore the pros and cons, and give you the knowledge you need to make an informed decision.
First things first, let's clear up what WooCommerce actually is.
Yeah, because there's often a bit of confusion around that.
It's not a marketplace like Amazon where you set up shop alongside thousands of other sellers.
Right, it's not about renting a space in someone else's online mall.
It's more like building your own online storefront from the ground up.
You have complete control over the design, the branding, the customer experience.
Which sounds amazing, but also a bit daunting.
It definitely comes with more responsibility.
Okay, so if we're building our own shop, what are we looking at in terms of costs? I know WooCommerce itself is free, but what about everything else?
You're right, the platform is free to use. But like any business venture, there are expenses involved.
Can you give us some examples? What kind of costs should we be factoring in?
Well, think of it like building a physical store. You need to pay for the land, the construction materials, the utilities.
Okay, so in the online world, what are our land and construction materials?
Your land is web hosting. It's essentially renting space on a server to house your website.
And hosting is crucial, right? I've heard it can impact things like site speed and search engine rankings.
Absolutely. A slow website can lead to frustrated customers and lost sales.
So we've got our land. What about those construction materials?
That's where things like your domain name, themes, and plugins come in.
Okay, break those down for me.
Your domain name is your online address. It's what people type into their browser to find your store, like yourstore.com.
Got it. And themes. I've heard those mentioned a lot in the WordPress world.
A theme is like a template that determines the look and feel of your website. It dictates things like the layout, colors, and fonts.
So it's like choosing the interior design for my online shop.
Exactly. And there are tons of themes to choose from, both free and paid.
All right, and what about plugins? What are those all about?
Think of plugins like apps for your website. They add functionality and features like contact forms, social media integration, or SEO optimization.
Okay, so there's definitely a lot to consider beyond just the WooCommerce platform itself.
Yeah, it's important to have a realistic picture of the costs involved.
Now let's talk about WordPress, because I know WooCommerce is a plugin for WordPress, and honestly, I'm a bit fuzzy on how that all works.
Sure, it can seem a bit confusing at first.
So do I need to have a WordPress website already set up to use WooCommerce?
Yes, that's right. WooCommerce is built on top of WordPress. It's like building a house. You need a foundation before you can start adding the walls and the roof.
Okay, that makes sense. So I install WordPress first, and then I add the WooCommerce plugin on top of that.
Exactly. And the good news is that installing both WordPress and WooCommerce is usually a breeze. Most hosting providers offer one-click installation options.
So once I've got WordPress up and running, I head to the dashboard, find the WooCommerce plugin, install it, and activate it.
That's it. You're ready to start building your online store.
This is starting to feel a lot less intimidating.
It's all about breaking it down into manageable steps.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of setting up our store, there's one big question I have. How do I choose the right niche?
Niche selection. That's crucial.
I have lots of interests, but how do I know which one will actually translate into a successful online business?
It's not just about what you like. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passion intersects with market demand.
Okay, so it's about finding something I'm genuinely interested in, but also something that other people are actively searching for and buying.
Exactly. It's about doing your research and finding a niche that has potential for growth and profitability.
Can you give us some examples? How do we know if a niche is viable?
Well, let's say you're passionate about handmade jewelry. That's a great starting point, but it's a broad niche.
So how do I narrow it down?
You could specialize in a particular type of jewelry, like gemstone earrings or minimalist necklaces.
Or maybe even vintage jewelry or jewelry made from recycled materials.
You're getting it. The more specific you get, the easier it is to target your ideal customer.
And how do I know if there's actual demand for my products?
There are some great tools out there for that. Google Trends, for example, lets you see how often certain search terms are being used.
So if I'm seeing a lot of searches for handmade gemstone earrings, that's a good sign, right?
It definitely suggests there's interest in that market.
And what about competition? How do I know if a niche is already too saturated?
You can use tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush to analyze keywords and see how competitive they are.
So if I find a keyword with Decent search volume, but not a ton of competition. That's a sweet spot, right?
You're on the right track. You want to find a niche where you can stand out and attract customers.
This is making so much more sense now. It's not just about picking something I like, it's about understanding the market and choosing a niche that has potential.
You've got it. It's about combining passion with strategy.
Okay, so my niche is crystal clear. I know exactly what I want to sell. Now, how do I actually go about choosing the right products?
That's where the fun begins, but it's also where you need to keep your strategic hat on.
What do you mean?
Think of it like this. You're curating a collection for your online shop. What items will truly resonate with your target customer?
So if my niche is, say, eco-friendly baby clothes, I wouldn't just randomly add any baby clothes I find. I'd need to think specifically about the values and needs of parents who prioritize eco-consciousness.
Exactly. You're catering to a specific audience, so your products need to reflect their values and interests.
Okay, so I'm offering a curated selection that aligns with my niche, but where do I actually find these perfect products?
Start by tapping into your own expertise. What are your go-to brands or products in this niche? What are you passionate about?
And then I can expand my research, right? Check out online marketplaces, see what's selling well, read reviews.
Exactly. Get a feel for what customers are loving and what gaps might exist in the market.
And what about sourcing the products? Do I need to find wholesalers or manufacturers, or can I work with individual artisans?
That depends on your business model. If you're going for handmade or unique items, reaching out to artisans might be the way to go.
But if I'm looking for larger quantities or more mainstream products, I'll likely need to connect with wholesalers or manufacturers.
That's right. There are different options depending on your scale and the types of products you're selling.
This is all so fascinating. I'm starting to see the vast possibilities, but also the level of detail involved in creating a successful online store.
It's definitely a journey, but it's one that can be incredibly rewarding.
Okay, before we move on to the actual setup process, one last question about choosing products. How do I make sure I'm actually making a profit from all this?
Yes, the financial side of things. Passion is essential, but so is profitability.
So how do I know if my products are priced correctly?
Before you even list a product, you need to do a thorough profit margin analysis.
Okay, break that down for me. What goes into that?
It's about taking into account all your costs, not just the cost of the product itself.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Shipping, packaging, transaction fees from payment gateways, even your own overhead like website costs and your time.
Wow, I never would have thought about all those hidden costs.
You need to factor all of that in when setting your prices.
So it's not just about marking up the product price by a certain percentage. It's about understanding all those additional expenses.
Exactly. It's about knowing your numbers and making sure you're not selling yourself short.
This is making me think way more strategically about building my online store. It's not just about picking pretty products and hoping for the best. It's about understanding the business side of things.
You're getting it. It's about combining creativity with business savvy.
All right, I'm fired up and ready to tackle the next step. Let's get into the world of WordPress and WooCommerce.
Let's do it. We'll walk you through it all step by step.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork, we've chosen our niche, done our product research, and we're starting to wrap our heads around the costs involved.
Now it's time to roll up our sleeves and dive into the actual setup process.
Yes. Let's get this online shop up and running. Where do we begin?
We've got our WordPress site all set up, right? So now we can start thinking about the design and the overall look and feel of our store.
Right. We want to create a shopping experience that's both visually appealing and user-friendly.
Exactly. And that's where choosing the right theme comes in.
I've heard the term theme thrown around a lot. Can you explain exactly what it means?
Sure. Think of a theme as the blueprint for your store's design. It dictates things like the layout, the colors, the fonts, the overall aesthetic feel.
Okay, so it's like choosing the right storefront design for my physical shop.
Exactly. You wouldn't want a cluttered, confusing layout that makes it hard for customers to find what they need, right?
No way. First impressions are everything. I want my online store to look professional and inviting.
And a well-designed theme can do just that. It can enhance the user experience, make it easy for customers to navigate your site, find the products they're looking for, and ultimately make a purchase.
Okay, I'm convinced. A good theme is crucial. But how do I even begin to choose one?
Well, first and foremost, you need to make sure the theme you choose is compatible with WooCommerce.
Right, because WooCommerce is a plugin, so the theme needs to play nicely with it.
Exactly. Otherwise, you might run into issues with product display, the shopping cart, and other e-commerce functionalities.
So WooCommerce compatibility is non-negotiable. Where are some good places to find themes that meet this requirement?
There are a few options. You can check out the official WooCommerce website. They have a curated selection of themes that are guaranteed to work seamlessly with the platform.
Okay, so I can start there. Any other recommendations?
Theme Forest is another popular option. It's a marketplace with thousands of themes to choose from, including many specifically designed for WooCommerce.
Wow, that sounds like a lot to sift through.
It can be a bit overwhelming, but they have filters and search options that can help you narrow down your choices.
And what about free themes? Are there any reputable sources for those?
Yes, absolutely. Don't forget about the WordPress theme directory.
Oh, right. I remember hearing about that.
They have a wide variety of themes, including some that are WooCommerce compatible.
All right, so we've got WooCommerce.com, Theme Forest, and the WordPress theme directory. Plenty of options to explore.
Yeah, you'll have lots to choose from. But how do you know which theme is the right fit for your store?
That's a great question. It's like trying to pick an outfit for a big event. I want something that looks good, feels comfortable, and represents my personal style.
I love that analogy. You're spot on. When choosing a theme, it's important to think about your brand identity.
Like, what kind of vibe am I going for? What image do I want to project?
Exactly. Are you going for a sleek, modern look? A rustic, handmade feel?
Yeah.
Something bright and playful?
The theme's design should align with my brand's overall aesthetic, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And it should also appeal to your target audience.
So, if I'm selling eco-friendly baby clothes, I probably wouldn't choose a theme that's super edgy and industrial.
Probably not. You'd want something that's more soft, natural, and family-friendly.
Right. So design is important, but what about functionality? What else should I be considering?
Does the theme offer the features you need, like product sliders, customer testimonials, integrated social media buttons?
Ah, yes, those little details can make a big difference.
And does it come with a page builder? That can give you more flexibility in customizing the layout of your pages.
I've heard about page builders, but I haven't really used them.
They can be really helpful, especially if you don't have a lot of coding experience. They allow you to drag and drop elements to create the look you want.
Okay, so functionality is key. What else?
Crucially, is the theme responsive?
Yeah.
Meaning it adapts seamlessly to different screen sizes, like mobile phones and tablets.
Ah, yes, mobile responsiveness. That's huge these days.
Absolutely. More and more people are shopping online using their phones, so your website needs to be mobile-friendly.
It's so frustrating when you land on a website that's impossible to navigate on your phone.
Right. You just want to give up and go somewhere else.
Exactly. So we've got WooCommerce compatibility, design aesthetics, functionality, and mobile responsiveness. Anything else?
Don't forget about performance.
I've heard that site speed is important for both SEO and user experience.
Absolutely. A slow-loading website can kill your conversion rates. People are impatient. They won't wait around for a page to load.
It's like waiting in line at a store. If the line's too long, I might just leave and go somewhere else.
Exactly. You want your website to be fast, smooth, and enjoyable to use.
Okay, so I need to choose a theme that's lightweight and optimized for speed. How can I find information about a theme's performance?
You can often find this information in reviews or by contacting the theme developer directly.
Great. So much to consider when choosing a theme. It's not just about picking the prettiest one, it's about finding one that aligns with my brand, offers the functionality I need, performs well, and provides a great experience for my customers.
You've got it. It's about finding the perfect balance of form and function.
This is really helpful. I feel like I'm starting to understand the nuances of choosing a theme.
Great. Now that we've got that covered, let's shift gears and talk about configuring the settings for your WooCommerce store.
Okay, this is where I start to feel a bit intimidated. I've heard there are a lot of settings to configure, and I'm worried about messing something up.
Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. WooCommerce is designed to be user-friendly, and it walks you through the process step by step.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Think of it like setting up the cash register, the inventory system, and the security protocols for your physical store.
You need to make sure everything's working smoothly and securely before you open your doors to customers.
Exactly. So let's walk through some of the key settings you'll need to configure.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
First things first, general store settings.
Okay, what falls under that category?
This is where you input basic information like your store's name, address, currency, contact details, and legal pages.
So it's kind of like creating the store's identity and making sure everything is above board legally.
Precisely. You'll also choose whether you will sell to all countries or just specific ones.
Oh, so that's where I decide if I want to ship internationally or just domestically.
Exactly. It's also where you'll set up different shipping zones.
Shipping zones, what are those?
They allow you to group geographic regions together and apply specific shipping rates and methods to each zone.
Oh, that's handy. So if I'm in the US, I could have one shipping zone for domestic orders and another zone for international orders.
You got it. It allows you to create a more streamlined and efficient shipping process.
Okay, general settings, check. What's next?
Let's move on to product settings.
What do I need to configure there?
This is where you determine how you want your product pages to look and function. You can decide things like whether to enable reviews, allow social sharing, or display-related products.
Reviews are so important for building social proof, especially for online stores.
You're absolutely right. Positive reviews can really boost customer confidence and encourage sales.
And social sharing is great for spreading the word about my products.
It's like free advertising. If someone loves your product and shares on their social media, that's a win-win.
All right, product settings, got it. What about inventory management?
Ah, yes, inventory. That's a crucial one.
I have to admit, I'm not always the most organized when it comes to keeping track of stock levels.
WooCommerce has got you covered. It has built-in features that help you manage your inventory efficiently.
Really? Tell me more.
You can track stock levels for each product, set up low stock notifications, and even choose to hide out-of-stock products from your store.
That would be a lifesaver. No more accidentally selling products I don't have in stock.
Exactly. It prevents overselling and keeps your customers happy.
Okay, so we've covered general settings, product settings, inventory. What about payments?
Ah, yes, the money part.
Yeah.
This is where you set up how you'll accept payments from your customers.
I'm familiar with popular payment gateways like Stripe, PayPal, and Square for making purchases online, but how do I actually set them up for my store?
It's easier than you might think.
Yeah.
Once you choose your preferred gateway, you'll create an account with that provider.
Okay, so I need a Stripe account, for example.
Right. And then you'll connect that account to your WooCommerce store.
So it's like setting up a virtual cash register that processes transactions securely.
You got it. And WooCommerce makes the integration process seamless.
That's a relief. Payments are essential, so I want to make sure I get this part right.
You're doing great. And remember, if you ever get stuck, there are tons of resources available to help you.
Like what?
The WooCommerce documentation is a great place to start. They have step-by-step guides and tutorials.
And what if I encounter a problem that I can't find the answer to in the documentation?
You can always reach out to their support team or check out the WooCommerce forums.
Great. I'm starting to feel much more confident about navigating the technical side of things.
It's all about breaking it down into smaller steps and not being afraid to ask for help when you need it.
All right, payment gateways, check. What else do we need to configure before we launch this online empire?
Let's talk about shipping. That's another big one.
Yeah, shipping can be a bit of a headache. There are so many variables to consider.
Like what?
Well, there are different shipping methods, different carriers, different rates.
It's definitely a lot to juggle, but WooCommerce offers tools and plugins that can simplify the process.
Like what? Tell me more.
For example, you can use a shipping calculator plugin to automatically calculate shipping costs based on the customer's location, the weight of their order, and the dimensions of the package.
That would save me so much time and hassle. I'd rather not have to manually calculate shipping costs for every order.
Absolutely. It streamlines the process and makes it much more efficient.
Okay, so shipping calculator plugins are a must-have. What else should I know about setting up shipping?
Well, you need to decide which shipping methods you want to offer.
Like flat rate shipping, free shipping, expedited shipping, things like that.
Exactly. You can also offer local pickup if you have a physical store.
So many choices. How do I decide which shipping methods are right for my business?
It depends on a few factors, like your products, your target audience, and your profit margins.
So if I'm selling heavy items, free shipping might not be the best option.
Right. You'd probably want to charge for shipping or set a minimum order value for free shipping.
And if my target audience is really price sensitive, I might want to offer more affordable shipping options.
You're getting it. It's about finding a balance between offering competitive shipping rates and ensuring it's profitable for your business.
Okay, so shipping is all about strategy, just like everything else in e-commerce.
Absolutely. And remember, excellent customer service extends to the shipping experience.
What do you mean?
Well, you want to keep your customers informed about the status of their orders.
So sending them email notifications when their order ships and providing tracking information.
Exactly. And make sure you're responsive to any inquiries or concerns they might have about their shipment.
Right, because a bad shipping experience can ruin the whole customer journey.
It's all about creating a seamless and enjoyable experience from start to finish.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. Choosing a theme, configuring essential settings, setting up payments, and figuring out the whole shipping thing.
We're making progress.
I'm feeling more confident about the technical side of things, but now I'm curious about the human side. What about customer service? How do I handle all those interactions that come with running an online business?
That's a great question. Providing exceptional customer service is absolutely crucial for building trust, loyalty, and ultimately a successful business.
So we'll dive into all of that in our next segment.
We'll cover everything from handling inquiries and returns to creating a positive and memorable customer experience.
Okay, so we've talked about the tech stuff, setting up our WooCommerce store, getting all the settings just right, and now I want to talk about the people.
The customers.
Yes, customer service, I think, is the heart and soul of any business, but especially online.
I agree. You can have the most amazing products and a beautiful website, but if the customer service is lacking, people won't stick around.
It's all about creating a positive experience, making people feel valued and appreciated.
Exactly. You want them to come back again and again, not just buy from you once and disappear.
So where do we even begin with creating that amazing customer experience?
It starts with empathy. Understanding your customers, their needs, their expectations, even their frustrations.
So putting myself in their shoes, trying to see things from their perspective.
Exactly. What are their pain points? What are they struggling with? What would make their lives easier? Once you understand that, you can tailor your communication and service to meet those needs.
So if my target audience is, say, new moms who are always on the go, I'd approach customer service differently than if I were selling to, I don't know, retired folks who have more time on their hands.
That's a great example. You wouldn't use the same language or tone in those two scenarios.
Right. I'd want to be super efficient and helpful with the busy moms, maybe offer quick and easy solutions.
And maybe provide more detailed information and guidance for the retired folks who might have more time to browse and ask questions.
Okay, so understanding my audience is key. What are some practical tips for providing excellent customer service, specifically in the WooCommerce world?
First and foremost, be responsive.
That seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many businesses struggle with this.
I know, right? But in the online world, people expect quick answers. They don't want to wait days for a response to their email.
Absolutely. It's all about speed and efficiency. So set up clear channels for communication, like email, a contact form, maybe even live chat.
Live chat is awesome. If you can manage it, it provides instant support.
And whatever channels you choose, make sure you're monitoring them regularly and responding to inquiries promptly.
Ideally within 24 hours or less if possible.
That's a good rule of thumb. Now, it's not just about speed, it's also about quality, right?
Absolutely. You don't want to just fire off generic responses. Take the time to personalize your replies.
Make the customer feel heard and understood.
Exactly. And offer genuine solutions, not just canned answers.
I also love those websites that have really comprehensive FAQ pages.
Me too. Those can be so helpful.
It saves everyone time. Customers can often find the answers they need without having to contact support.
Exactly. So take some time to brainstorm common questions and create clear and concise answers for your FAQ page.
Okay, so we're being responsive, providing helpful information. What else can we do to create a truly stellar customer experience?
Don't underestimate the power of small gestures.
What do you mean?
Those little touches that show you care, like a handwritten thank you note included with their order.
Or a small discount code for their next purchase?
Those things make people feel special, like they're more than just a transaction.
It's like going the extra mile to delight your customers.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything big or expensive. Just a little something to show you appreciate their business.
All right, let's talk about the not-so-fun part of customer service, handling returns and complaints.
Yeah, those are bound to happen.
So how do we deal with them in a way that's both efficient and customer-friendly?
First things first, have a clear and concise return policy posted on your website.
Make it easy to find, easy to understand, no hidden loopholes or confusing jargon.
Exactly. And when a customer does request a return, respond promptly and professionally.
Acknowledge their request, let them know you're on it.
And try to make the process as smooth and painless as possible.
So, offer prepaid return labels, maybe allow returns to a physical store if you have one.
Those things can make a big difference in the customer's experience.
And what about when a customer is genuinely unhappy with that purchase? Maybe the product was damaged or it wasn't what they expected.
Those situations can be tricky, but the key is empathy. Put yourself in their shoes.
Try to understand their frustration, why they're upset.
And acknowledge their feelings, validate their concern.
Don't get defensive or try to brush them off.
Instead, offer a solution that's fair and reasonable.
Maybe a replacement product, a refund, or store credit.
It's about finding a resolution that leaves both parties feeling satisfied.
Now, I know sometimes you'll encounter those customers who are, well, a bit more challenging.
The ones who are never happy no matter what you do.
How do you handle those situations?
The best you can. Stay calm, stay professional, and stick to your company's policies.
Don't let them drag you into a battle you can't win.
Exactly. Sometimes you just have to agree to disagree and move on.
Okay, so much great advice on customer service. It's really about creating a positive experience, building relationships, and going the extra mile.
And remember, customer service is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time thing.
Right. It's about constantly evaluating your processes, looking for ways to improve, and staying ahead of the curve when it comes to customer expectations.
Because those expectations are always evolving, and the businesses that thrive are the ones that adapt and evolve along with them.
All right. I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about launching a successful WooCommerce store.
We've gone from choosing a niche to setting up our website to marketing our products and creating a stellar customer experience.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. But remember, building a business is an ongoing adventure, and there's always something new to learn and explore.
That's the exciting part. So to all you aspiring e-commerce entrepreneurs out there, what are you waiting for? Dive in, get creative, and build something amazing.
We're cheering you on.